YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, gonna bring you a fun matchup of vampires versus empire. My opponent played me a fun game here. I enjoyed it. He said he was getting back into multiplayer, so I assumed that maybe he played it at one point. So you'll see how this match goes. He's actually got a pretty varied empire. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because he started way back here at the back of the map to try and use his artillery. So he's got great cannons, a couple of spearmen, light wizard, 3 great swords, 2 handgunners, the tatter souls, another spear in the back, 2 crossbows, and he's got a demigryph knight with halberds in the woods on this flank, and then a demigryph knight, just the standard variety. I've got 2 Cairn wraiths up front, a couple of zombies, main line of 6 crypt ghouls, because I expected a lot of empire infantry to be relatively low armor. Cryptors to help against the ones that are armored, and then Mannfred is on a barded nightmare, riding with the blood knights, acting like he's the Red Duke. I saw that there was a light wizard here, so I went ahead and split up Mannfred and his 2 blood knights to make it hard for him to net more than 1 unit. And then I'm going to start pushing in on his demigryph knight. I'm actually pretty happy to take this fight with the Cairn wraiths. I don't think it's a fight that his demigryph knights want. So I'm going to try and take that fight while I attack the main line. So I've issued my attack orders here. I'm going to try and focus down a bunch of his great swords. I'm going to send a couple of units back here to disrupt his handgunners. Over here, he sends a demigryph knight with halberds towards me. I went ahead and kind of, when I just clicked the movement order, my guys automatically regrouped together back here in the back. They should have stayed separate to be more effective there. The tatter soul is going to get hit with crypt ghouls. The tatter soul should win that fight. But over here, for instance, you can see these great swords are going to be outnumbered, and then the cryptors will deal the armor-piercing damage. And crypt ghouls are pretty decent speed, so I'm going to get these ones back here to disrupt the Empire backlines. And at this point, I decided to go ahead and charge towards my opponent's handguns, and unfortunately for me, his net was ready again, and by the time I tried to split up my units, and I even turned Mannfred around, you can see it right there, but yeah, he couldn't turn around fast enough. So I ended up getting my guys caught, so a huge mistake here. The handgunners are going to punish me. I avoided his net the first time. He netted me, or he tried to net me, and it didn't end up doing anything. But this is going to be bad. So I hit him with Fate of Buna to try and level the playing field a little, and then I'm going to use Mannfred's Master of the Black Arts and get ready to put a heal down to try and keep my knights alive. So even though this turned out as a bad fight initially, I'm thinking I can turn it around just a little bit. So here comes the Invocation of the Heck. And I'm going to move around and try and keep things going. But his demigryph knights with halberds just have too much momentum against these blood knights at the moment. So I will lose 1 unit, but the other unit is going to survive. Infantry-wise, the fight it's going okay. I've got some disruption back here. You can see these crossbowmen got caught, so did some of his spears. And the banshees were keeping his demigryph knights busy. They caused a lot of damage, but then he got a great sword out here. Again, I'll let these Cairn wraiths fight the great swords. They're not going to do great. They're armor piercing, but they're really more of just a terror unit. They're not going to do particularly well just going head to head with great swords. But again, the infantry gets mostly mopped up, so I'm able to push through the infantry. Mannfred pushes through past the cavalry fight. I'm going to go ahead and pull these blood knights out here after just a moment. And Mannfred is able to get in here and make sure this light wizard doesn't get any more of his nets. So Mannfred will do quite good in melee against squishier characters like this, and he can even do decent in melee against characters that are slightly better at it. Mannfred's pretty darn good in melee for a caster. He doesn't have a lot of armor-piercing damage per se, but he is going to do plenty of damage in melee, and he's armored. So that bodes well for Mana. I'm going to get into the cannon now at this point too. Raise some zombies over here to chase down the crossbows so they can't keep shooting my men. We were about to finish the Tatter Souls before they were charged by demigryph knights. And then the enemy lord over here is going head to head with some cryptors, and this little area here is getting mopped up. Outmaneuvered his pursuing spearmen. I'm going to come back and finish the demigryph knights with halberds. And I've got his gunners pinned down with summoned zombies and the zombies that I brought from the beginning. So unfortunately for him, he's kind of tied down in combat, and then his cannon isn't going to be firing for too much longer because Mannfred has the blood knights coming in to help. And I'm going to heal the blood knights as soon as they get here and resurrect as many of them as I can. The blood knight is a very powerful unit, and keeping it alive can help me win this fight. So we've had a pretty good fight. My opponent and I traded blows. He definitely got the better of me with that net, but then I turned around with the Fate of Buna and essentially made him pay for it. And in the infantry fight, it was somewhat Pyrrhic. But as the vampires, you know, they can handle Pyrrhic fights pretty decent because their units don't rout. You can see these Blood Knights, I have them back up to pretty decent health, and they can be healed even more if necessary. So I'm in pretty decent shape at this point. His General of the Empire is going to be a pretty poor match against Mannfred. I mean, their stats are similar in terms of melee attack, but Mannfred's going to have superior stats otherwise, and I have him mounted up on the steed here. So he should do pretty darn well in this fight. Now, Mannfred does get stuck here, like up against this tree. I tried to remove him from combat a couple times, but he wouldn't. So it was kind of an odd position. I should have summoned zombies here as well. But we used the Blood Knights here, and as I was trying to get Mannfred unstuck off the tree, I sent a few of these Cairn Wraiths to chase his gunners because they had gotten free from their zombie escorts. So yeah, Cairn Wraiths are pretty quick, but these guys are crumbling, so it's not good for me. But at least they'll chase them off, even if it's just for a moment. Yeah, the Cairn Wraiths will slowly crumble. I couldn't quite get them into melee. The gunners were hanging just ahead of me for some reason. I would think the Cairn Wraiths could catch them, but I think since these guys are only winded, my guys are kind of debilitated, they just can't catch up. And they're kind of slowly losing. Yeah, you can see they move pretty slow through the woods here too. So yeah, they're going to crumble without doing anything other than pushing them away. But at this point, even pushing them away was a victory. You can look right here, I can't get Mannfred out of there. And while I was busy trying to get Mannfred out of here, his crossbows beat the zombies that were fighting him and just started shooting at me. And I was like, ah, crap, because I turned around and noticed. This is a classic air moment right here, where my guys are sitting here like, Air, could you give us orders? Like please? Not all of us have shields. Yeah, so I ended up losing pretty much all my Cryptors there, so that was a huge mistake. But I eventually realized it. And then Mannfred over here, I was getting sick of not being able to move. He sent spearmen in as well. But I have a ton of magic left, actually. I'm saving it at this point to make sure if I needed a critical moment I can use it. Mannfred can summon up so much magic. He's extremely good at it. He's definitely the best. I don't know, I think he's the best legendary Lord caster. Always has been, probably, in the game. But there we go. I don't know, Malekith might be giving him a run for his money these days, but Mannfred is pretty good. So the zombies are going to clean that up. Blood Knights are going to clean up the crossbows. These great swords said they wanted to fight, but I don't think that they really meant it deep inside. Yeah, Blood Knights definitely going to do some serious damage to great swords. As you can see, Blood Knights have a anti-large, but I mean still 78 charge. Large or not, that's going to hurt. Gonna hurt. So we'll get into the final phases of the battle. The Empire's regrouped his handgunners over here to make a final stand, and then he's got a few crossbows as well. I'm gonna send my Crypt Ghouls straight towards the handgunners and zombies to charge down the spearmen. And then Mannfred is gonna make for the flank here and try and make the flank. The spearmen are gonna try and catch him, but he can outmaneuver them. So I'm gonna haul around the flank and go straight for the Empire Captain. He should be pretty vulnerable at this point. And then I'm going to be able to raise zombies over here once I attack his gunners. So put a quick charge on the captain. Going to feed some zombies to these handgunners. Man, this game is beautiful. They really did a good job. From Warhammer 1 to here, they made a ton of improvements, and it looks great. So yeah, Mannfred's going to get into combat here. Yeah, there's quite a few guys around, but he's okay. Not going to hurt Mannfred. And then here comes my Blood Knights as well, so I'll let you all just kind of catch the cinematic on what's the final moments of this battle. So the Empire Captain going to be hunted down by Mannfred. Mannfred's Blood Knights are going to come in. I'm going to put a final heal down in this area just to make sure that we seal away the victory, which is part of the reason why I was saving my Winds of Magic towards the end, even though I had some. We could have Spirit Leeched, actually. I had Spirit Leech, but I guess I felt like we had this thing under control. Yeah, those gunners were about to get free, but again, the one Blood Knight that survived was handy. So that's going to be that, folks. Vampire's going to wrap this one up. Hope you enjoyed the battle. Appreciate French Shade there for giving me a fun battle. I like the varied army that he brought there. It was not the everyday Empire army. I made some mistakes. He made some mistakes. We both had a couple of decent shining moments there, so it was a lot of fun. And appreciate the game from him. It's always a good time. So hope he enjoys multiplayer. Said he hadn't been back for a while. Hope you stick around. It's a lot of fun. I encourage the rest of you, if you like Total War, definitely go out and play some multiplayer. Don't get discouraged if you lose some. Keep playing. That's how we all get into it. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I will see you all soon.